It's delicious.
It's been in my underwear.
What do you think of when you hear the words TV event?
A shindig.
You mean like a hoedown?
A hullabaloo.
In this world of streaming and binging and doxing people because they don't agree with your ship, things like millions of people turning on their TV at the same time to watch the same thing sounds insane. But when I was a kid, forget about it. The channels used to be paved with hype. TV movies based on your favorite shows, week-long marathons that came bundled with their own branding, previews galore, and more mascot costumes than a discount furry convention.
I know, furries get a bad rap, but they're almost never sexual.
It was peak, and no one did it better than Cartoon Network. I used to be seated anytime something would be announced. I was there when Wilt set off on his journey of self-discovery. I was there when Jack first got flung back into the past. And I was there for the yet-to-be-top Cartoon Network Summer 2005 kickoff. Oh man, we used to be a society. We used to have culture. But over the years, events like this started getting scarcer and scarcer. Shows would premiere and end with little to no fanfare. No more cool branding to get you ready outside of a couple of spliced together clips. Man, they don't even make puppets anymore, dude. The fascist won.
Oh, last year we had an Indian kid.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but they got him.
What does that mean?
I mean, at least we still got the Steven Universe movie hype, but a drop of water is nothing compared to the flood of pure adrenaline that was Cartoon Network in the early 2000s. But as long as Cartoon Network is a brand, which sadly might not be for long, every so often we'll still get something cool. And in the summer of 2021, Craig of the Creek gave us a banger of an event. Craig used to just be a show I would occasionally check out, but after this, I became a lifelong fan. There were thrills, there were payoffs, and most importantly, there was hype. It had me feeling like I was 10 again. So today, I want to go over the 3 ways that this special event recaptured that old feeling. I'm your host and highest watch premiere, D'Angelo Edwards. And today, I'm taking my hat off to the Craig of the Creek Capture the Flag event.
It goes ba-bum, ba-bum, bum, click, bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, bum, click, bum.
We need more bad guys to smash.
Bum, click, bum. I be Lord of the Rings, I manifest. Represent from the den, I don't wear no vest. I got a heart in my chest, it goes ba-bum, ba-bum. I sway halfway, the day's hump, get over. I be Lord of the Rings, I manifest.
I'll put a shot to your
sister.
sister.
I don't wear no vest. I got a heart in my chest, it goes ba-bum, ba-bum. I sway halfway, the day's hump, get over. One out the ring, so now you got.
Well, not exactly the warm welcome we were expecting, but thank you all! You won't regret this. You'll see we're gonna be very good friends.
Okay, so the first thing this event does right is build up. Craig of the Creek is first and foremost an episodic show. Craig and the crew just going around meeting different kids, finding different new locations in the creek, and then Craig goes home to Terry Crews and his hot mom. My point is there aren't really stakes, but there is progression, and that comes in the form of Craig's map. As the show goes on, we actually see it grow as the number of places Craig and the boys know about increases, and the number of his friends and rivals grow as well. And this is basically all that happens in season 1. But eventually, you get to thinking, man, this kid has basically explored the whole creek. He's gone on all these adventures and met all these people. I bet that map is pretty much done. Then that's when it happens. We get to the overpass.
Guys, look.
Okay, the creepy level of this place just went from a 5 to a...
This place is weird. It's got this whole mysterious vibe to it. None of the other kids know about it, so there's no one there to info dump. And most importantly, it's the first place we meet the Green Poncho.
Get down!
I swear, they ripped this dude straight out of Kids Next Door. He's got a great design, the dude has got moves, and you can tell that unlike the kids playing in the creek, this isn't just a game to him. He warns Craig to stay away from the overpass and what lies beyond it. And just like that, the world Craig and his friends live in doubles in size. Now there's this whole other place that could be hiding anything, and Craig wants to find out. And you want to find out. And as the show goes on, they just keep piling on the mysteries while giving you breadcrumbs. They start showing new characters, we get a couple of glimpses of how life past the overpass is, and they do it in such a smart way. They don't just shift the focus of the show towards this stuff. You get like an episode here and there. There are like almost 20 episodes in between the Green Poncho's first appearance and his next, and that is how you do it. This is the kind of stuff that used to fuel me as a kid. The kind of delayed gratification that you just can't get with streaming.
But I want it now!
I used to always make sure my grades were looking tight, because if I slacked off, that meant I wouldn't be able to watch Naruto that weekend, and I wouldn't know what was happening in the Chunin exam. A C on the math test basically stood for "see you later, Rock Lee," and at that point I might as well just die, right? So I can only imagine what this drip feed of content did to kids. And it was almost a year before we even got to see the other side, and once you get there, it does not disappoint.
This is the most massive tree fort I've ever seen. It's so high!
You get to see this whole other side of the forest with all these kids playing this weird looking LARP game with different systems and classes, and it's all controlled by the tyrannical King Xavier. This dude is great, and I don't know what I expected out of the Craig of the Creek villain, but this dude is perfect. He's somehow a total brat, yet super threatening at the same time, and his iron-fisted rule makes a great foil to Craig, whose entire ethos is playing how you want. Also, they don't overuse him. They make sure to only show him once in a while, and every time he shows up, he gets a little more threatening, a little more unhinged. I know it sounds insane to say this kind of thing about an 11-year-old, but look at some of these expressions and tell me I'm wrong.
You mean that happy child?
That ain't no happy child.
And he also just has this whole squad of superpowered kids at his command, one of whom is a fighter strong enough to match Kelsey, the powerhouse of Craig's squad, and you know that something big is about to go down. But not yet. They let it marinate. We get a few more close encounters with the king, but it's not until Season 3 where he finally makes his big move.
Any last words?
Just one.
Dude, that is gross!
The second thing this event does right is Payoff. And I don't just mean payoff for the scattering of episodes that have to do with the other side, I mean payoff for the entire show. After the king makes his move and infiltrates the creek, a series of takeovers and secret missions leads to a winner-take-all match of Capture the Flag. And it's here that we start seeing some major payoff. We learn how the kingdom on the other side got started, we finally get to see the confrontation that's been building up up for 3 seasons, and most importantly, we get to see how all of the relationships Craig and his team have built come back in this special. Like I said, this is a war, and everyone is fighting, and it is callback central. All of the different groups of kids that we first meet with Craig are now here, and all fighting in their own specific ways. Games that started as the simple plots in the episodic episodes are now coming back as major tools in the war. Things like the council that Craig started with the other leaders of the Creek plays a pivotal role in Xavier's rise to power. A bunch of different characters from all across the season get to have really cool standout moments, and it all just feels like this world you've spent all this time in is actually coming to a climax. I mean, there's a character and location from the first episode that ends up playing a huge role in the Creek Kids' strategy to protect their flag, and I can only imagine how gratifying that must feel if you were a kid who's been watching from the beginning. I think the closest thing I can compare this to is when I first saw Last But Not Beast from Dexter, and how cool it was to see all these different characters finally come together. But instead of it just being a single episode, this is a story that was slowly told in the background of what you'd expect to just be a simple cartoon about a kid playing in his backyard. But because they did so many of the episodic episodes, you really get to know these characters pretty well. You probably got favorite kids, favorite groups, so to see them all finally come together to fight against a pretty good antagonist, it feels great. It's the same principle behind Steven Universe. I remember back when it was still going that people would constantly complain about what they called filler episodes. First of all, that's not filler. I don't think a lot of you guys know what filler is. Filler is when you have to add new stuff because the thing you're adapting is running out of stuff for you to adapt. An original show can't have filler. I'm sorry, that always bugged me. But the reason that Steven Universe wasn't just rushing towards all the Diamond and Rose Quartz stuff was because they wanted to give you time to know these characters and grow to love them. That way, when the big fight stuff does happen, the stakes feel even higher because you actually care about what happens to these characters now. You think Jailbreak would have hit that hard if you hadn't had all those fun, goofy, endearing moments with the cast? No. And the same goes for Craig. And after spending all this time with all these different characters and locations and teams, seeing them all come together to fight is amazing. This special has payoff in spades. But there is one thing that takes this special from a 10 to an 11.
Capture!
Alright, so I mentioned that there are 3 things that go into making a TV event feel special, that place it among juggernauts like Operation Zero and Channel Chasers. The first is build-up, the second is payoff, but the third one is the most important. An event can have all that other stuff, but it is nothing, and I mean nothing, without presentation! This special looks so good. Like, there is actual scale to this thing. Giant cardboard robots, insane games of the floor is lava, and enough sword fights to keep me happy for a very long time. And there's just such a huge variety of scenes too, spotlighting all the characters we've gotten to know. Staples like the Sewer Queen and the Paintball Kids get their moment to shine. Kelsey has her final rematch against Maya, alongside not only the Green Poncho, but the original Green Poncho. Again, loving that payoff. And one of my favorite groups in the show, the Ice Pop Trio, really just go off in the finale. And it doesn't stop at the animation. We even get what might be the coolest moment in the event. Another surprise visit from Deltron in one of the best scenes of the special, performing Positive Contact. This is how you do an event, man. If this was back in the day, you know they would have made an original music video to go along with this. But let's not push our luck. It's crazy enough that we were able to get Del back for this. And the great presentation didn't just stop in the episode. This thing had custom motion graphics in all the commercials. They aired one part per day to build maximum hype, and they even gave it a Flash game. I mean, yeah, sure, it's probably like Unity or something, but that's not the point. A Flash game is a feeling, not a definition. I don't think you understand the hype that an event-specific Flash game can bring. This isn't just some random game based on the show as a whole. This is you taking control in an important part of the show's history. I was there when they made that Stitch in Time game for Kim Possible, and I was there when they dropped Harem Scarum for Billy and Mandy. Heck, by the time Wishology premiered, I was pretty much over the Fairly Odd Parents. But when I saw that they were dropping a Flash game with all the different suits and weapons Timmy got in the special, you know I was playing that for a few hours. Craig of the Creek is actually one of the last shows that still makes games regularly that aren't just on your phone. Yeah, blah 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 convenience, it just doesn't hit the same. And I won't lie, when I went to go check that it was still up on the website, I might have played Chrono Moss for a few minutes.
Well, I've been playing it for like 8 hours.
Anyway, top to bottom, no matter how you look at it, this was a classic Cartoon Network event. Great pacing that rewards you for watching the show, cool branding and tie-ins that actually make it feel special, and overall, just a great bit of TV that, by the end of it, I felt like they could have ended the show right there. I would not have been mad. Okay, I would have been a little mad. Everything I like always gets canceled. Thank you for letting me have this. And those are the reasons that Craig of the Creek Capture the Flag feels like the last great Cartoon Network event. Now listen, I know things are different now. People just don't watch stuff the way they used to, and I'm sure that the numbers of watchers don't really justify making a big deal out of stuff when most kids are just going to catch it the next day on a streaming service. But the reason I care so much about stuff like this is because I remember how these big TV events made me feel, how much fun it was to be completely absorbed into whatever these cartoon characters were getting into. And I really just want kids to continue having those memories. So when something like this comes around and actually succeeds in making me feel like a kid again, I think that is something to be celebrated. Capture the Flag just might be the last great Cartoon Network event, but I really hope it isn't.